And we are live on Tuesday night for the Homestead update. How's everybody doing? Terminator from My Crooked Little Homestead was the first one in to chat again. RN's on here. Virginia Roots, how are you doing?
Mrs. Hacks, hey.
Mrs. Hacks.
You're not, he's not feeling well. This is not good.
Dog Creek Farm, how you doing? We need to get together and schedule a what?
I said, watch your hands.
Oh,
next to my glass.
I almost knocked your tea over, folks. I'm sorry. I talk with my hands a lot. But Dog Creek, we need to get together and set up a time to do an interview so you can tell us about what's going on in your neck of the woods. But so we had a decent week.
Yeah.
I mean, we got stuff accomplished. Nothing like no dam breaking or anything like that, but we got a lot accomplished, right?
We got a lot accomplished.
Did we?
And it was groundbreaking. So
I spent a lot of time outside cutting wood and stacking wood and working outside, cleaning out mucking pens and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I got all of the inventory done for Self-Reliance Festival. I got everything put up. I got some new recipes in the freeze dryers. I played with some candy a little bit yesterday and last night and figured some fails and some I think we're going to keep.
Yeah.
And so somebody had asked, was it last week, if we could freeze dry Jelly Ranchers? And the answer is yes, and they are wonderful.
Hot tamale. I don't remember if it was.
Nobody asked about hot tamales.
I think
hot tamales won't work.
No. Yeah, hot tamales didn't work. Hello, Teepa. Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
But we did a lot. We really did a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing we did though was we had the homesteading potluck this weekend.
Yep.
So that was really interesting and
a great presentation.
It was nice seeing everybody and Shane from
Understanding Ag.
And
you guys, what Ag? If you don't know, most people probably in here do. Ag, AG, that's agriculture.
So Shane and three other people run an international consulting firm, and he gave a fascinating discussion about soil health, and Mrs. Hacks can attest to it. It was very interesting.
Hey, Pat.
And just really, I didn't get anything out of it that I didn't already know about soil, but what he did was he convicted me to get this place rehabbed.
Well, not just that. I think what he did, so it put a highlight. So if anybody doesn't know, Living Free in Tennessee, I did a round robin live with them this afternoon, and for Self-Reliance Festival. And so one of the things having that and learning all of that, one of the questions came down about the train derailment, not the one in Texas that just happened, but the one that it was happening in Ohio,
East Palestine.
And so there's something that's missing and nobody could figure out what was missing. And putting Saturday's information together, doing a little bit more research. Well, what was missing are the effects on agriculture. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, we'll go into that. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper later.
And then cleaned out the hay pen, and gosh, I got probably 10 yards of compost stacked up. It's taller than this one.
Cindy, hey, happy Valentine's
Day. If she goes out and stands next to the compost pile, it's taller than she is. And I'm gonna do a series of videos or get some film of turning. In fact, I got to go out and turn it tomorrow, so that it'll start composting properly. It was so cold here that the top 6 inches of the hay pen were nice and mucky because the goats and the sheep are laying on it and walking through it. But there was literally a layer of frozen compost right underneath that. And then whenever I turned the existing compost pile, it was frozen solid too.
Yeah, so we need to work that more.
Lucy says, I've been estate cleaning for my neighbor's basement, lots of tools, and I'm going back tomorrow. They've asked me to take everything, and they have half a basement full of box stuff. Wow, that's a treasure trove, isn't it? We got that happened when we were picking that that prepper house.
Well, not just that, but with Jerry's stuff, we've got.
Oh yeah, Jerry's
Oh my
stuff
gosh,
too.
we have so much stuff. We still we went through a lot of it, but we need to get a lot of that stuff out so we can start working on floors. We're thinking about taking some of that to Self-Reliance Festival for the flea market.
Yeah.
Just the stuff that we know our community locally won't use or do
And
anything with.
We were discussing it. Did we decide that any money we make off that is going to go into the Midwest Preparedness Festival?
Oh, I didn't know that you asked me that, but I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
And but sometimes, but you have to know with that, there's bartering and there's all kinds of stuff there. So we'll have to be careful with that, because I don't know. Sometimes people will pay with silver, and sometimes, that kind of thing. Not that we're being greedy, but to turn that over to Midwest Preparedness Project would be a little weird. We may just have to take it in, get it evaluated, figure out what the value is.
No, whatever we sell at flea markets or
But you don't sell, it's barter.
No, we would anything we sell at the flea market at Self-Reliance Festival.
I know. I thought you said that was all barter.
No, that's a flea market.
Is it cash?
Yes, the cash.
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't know why I got that.
Hello, Starla. You just Yoda's been playing in the muster. I'm trying to catch her up.
Hey, Starla. Good news and bad news. Hot tamales do not freeze dry. Good news is Jolly Ranchers do, and they are amazing.
You should go pull the nerd rope and show them that.
Oh, I don't have. Yeah, I'll get
It's
a
right there.
baggie. I'll get a baggie. Yeah, I figured that one. That one just needs more dry time.
So we had a comment on the little short we did yesterday. Somebody said it was very interesting, but they wouldn't spend time and energy preserving junk.
Well, because they're not running a business. That's
Well,
why.
I had to point out that this is our side hustle, and all the money that is used to purchase this stuff from us goes towards the important things. Now, this is a nerd rope. I don't know if anybody's got kids, they know what these things are.
Let me grab
The kids love these things. And that was what, 6 inches long when it started?
I don't even remember. I don't think it was that long, but man, this thing, it's long. But it's all freeze dried. It's kind of funky looking, but nerds are falling everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the nerd rope. It actually worked out. I had not been able to get these worked out before, but now I've got the right dry time for them, so they're working out. Those, if you can see them, those are Jolly Ranchers. So those worked out great. So, and then I sent samples with you to work, and everybody loved them. So,
for those of you who don't know, Liberty Tree Fellowship, JR, he and another group of guys who are like-minded are starting another freedom-minded platform off of YouTube, and they talk about the stuff that gets them in trouble, get them on trouble on YouTube. So if you're
they talk about liberty and freedom.
Yeah, if you're interested in that, go look up this channel, and I don't know, can you post the link to Liberty Tree Fellowship, their website?
I suck at that.
Okay, we'll get it. So yeah, go out and check them. Hey, Big Kid 71. I don't think we've seen you around here. Welcome aboard. Thanks for stopping by. This is our Tuesday night. This is our Tuesday night live stream homestead update / whatever anybody wants to talk about. This is what we do on Tuesdays. It's kind of hard. I'm trying to do 3 things at once here. Yeah. But so welcome aboard. First, okay.
This is just going to give the thing. Virginia Roots knows how to do this, and why don't you?
I'll get it. I'll post it. I'll post it in the description.
I know.
If there's any other mods in here that know how to post links, go ahead and do that for us, please, to JR's website. Jonathan, I cracked open that jar of raspberry jam and some homemade. Oh man, the raspberry jam and homemade biscuits.
I'm glad you liked that. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah. So yeah. Speaking of which, Tifa, we cracked open. People came over after the homestead, and I needed to just throw some things real quick on the table so everybody could just munch a little bit. and I took cream cheese block out, and then we put the peach jam on. Oh man, that was
I went off.
amazing.
I went off the carnivore. Yes, I had a little bit. It was
crazy.
delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It was delicious. And the other,
Yeah, so I need that recipe, please, because I've got peach trees and I need to.
Speaking of the raspberries, I decanted some of the raspberry wine that I made, and it turned out very strong. I did not do it right. I didn't kill the yeast quick enough, and it ate up all the sugar. And
it's like paint thinner.
It's like a liqueur. It's like a raspberry liqueur. It's almost
like 20. Paint thinner.
Your average wine is anywhere from 12 to 14%, and that wine I made is almost 20%. But we mixed it with a little Italian Seagram's ice, and it leveled off the taste, and actually tastes pretty good.
There's Virginia Roots. Just give her a wrench, and she can do it because she wants to put the YouTube channel up there too, and I think that's a great idea. No, it doesn't look like she's.
You got to do it. You got to do it over here. Where is it? You guys hold on a second.
Oh, am I in control of this situation?
Add managing moderator.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Wait, what? I thought you just did it.
Well, I hit the wrong. There you go, right there.
No, you look. You hide user on this channel.
I didn't hide her.
You can't because you look. You highlighted two things. How did you highlight that?
I didn't do that.
You did, and now we just.
I think she just hid Virginia.
I just unhid, and so now I have to back. You're such a pain in the.
No, it says right there.
I know, but
was unhid. Oh, it says unhidden. Okay, sorry about that.
But where do I go back for
the little
original
dots.
comment?
I'm okay. This has been an ongoing thing today. We've been doing this for almost 2.5 years. And she still does not know how to do all this stuff and manage it. So I had to teach her how to get into StreamYard today. I had
Virginia Roots. You should be a moderator now.
I had to. I think Pippin's a moderator too, isn't she? Jonathan's a moderator.
Yeah, Mrs. Hacks that. Mrs. Is she? Hacks, oh yeah, she is. Why isn't she doing it? She's probably taking care of.
She's taking care of the sick one.
Yeah.
But. Well, thank you.
Yeah, Virginia, you're good.
We're not funny on purpose. It's just the way things are around here.
Like a dime.
Yeah, Satan Hunter. Here, I gotta put that one up. Things are much simpler before everything complicated. Amen. Right. And this is coming from an IT guy. Hey, Ghetto, how's it going?
Hey, Ghetto.
Yeah, it's definitely changed things, hasn't it? But what else did we get done? Oh, we got the second freeze dryer. We got the
Indiana Mike and then brought the second freeze dryer up. So we've got that working. I ran the first cycle through. It did fantastic. Yep. It looks great. It's getting ready to get 3 trays of huevos rancheros and a tray of loaded veggie scrambled eggs and a tray of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
So those will go in right after the live.
It was very interesting setting that thing up because they've got a new generation. It's probably the latest generation of hardware. Ours is a dinosaur. Ours is first generation, maybe second generation, and it's built completely different. Mm-hmm. The electronic innards of it are basically the same. Especially now since we upgraded it after the fiasco last year with the firmware upgrade, but it's very interesting. And then they've got one of the oilless pumps, and I really like that thing. Mm-hmm. You know, it seems to do a really good job.
Yeah, it's a learning curve, but we're getting there. I actually burnt my meatloaf because I spent an hour and a half to. Yes, I burnt something.
Burnt the meatloaf.
I forgot about it, but
chickens will eat well.
I've been just cutting off, me and meatloaf. I've just been cutting off the burnt stuff and making sandwiches.
So cut the burnt stuff off and feed it to the dogs.
But so I sat back there for quite a while. I went back there probably at 6. I didn't get out. I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost 8 o'clock because trying to figure this out.
That was yesterday. Yeah. Starla says more seeds are coming your way.
Yay. Awesome. Is that my special box? Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to get everything in the ground too. So we got a lot going on.
Yeah. And it's going to be, we were talking this weekend, a lot of people have got their seed starts going and everything. And we just really haven't had the time. We've been doing so much other stuff, what with getting the pantry done and getting the harvest rate stuff going and all that and all that. And quite frankly, I'm not gonna lie, I really don't want to grow stuff up back here this year.
What?
I
thought you were gonna make that my kitchen garden.
We need no. I'm talking the racks that we had and all the grow lights and the dirt and the mud all over the place.
Well, if you don't want to do that, maybe you can get the lumber and insulation out of my greenhouse.
Well, you know what? You can help me
While I'm getting ready for SRF and all of that.
I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it like I always do.
Oh yeah, poor guy. Poor guy.
But anyway, yeah. So it's just it's getting to be that time, and the seeds are going to come in really handy, and we should take some seeds with us and do a seed exchange at Self-Reliance too.
I'll talk to Nicole about that and see what we can take out there and what we can do. So let's see. I ordered seeds from My Crooked Little Homestead. I ordered seeds from the East Coast of Canada. Oh no, he took it off. East Coast of Canada. Well, now I lost it. You're going.
It's right there on the screen.
Oh, seeds from the East Coast of Canada, and just for 3 packs, charged me $10 for shipping. Wow. Oh yeah. Yep. In fact, I went up, and this was very interesting because I've been shipping out a few candy packages and stuff over the last week, and shipping charges are going up. And in fact, I was able to pick up in the States. There was a standard box that you could use, and it would just be a regional charge. And they literally put those regional charge boxes in a separate box and set them aside. And the girl let me know. She said, if you want those boxes, you need to go ahead and get them. And I said, well, why? What's going on? They're stopping that. From now on, it's going to be priority only, or you have to put it in your own box, and they're going to upcharge all that stuff. And I said, well, so are the charges on the regional box going to stay the same as long as I have those? And she said, yes. So.
Okay, GMO Merkel, we've had the greenhouse for quite a while, but because it got so cold here, and I didn't have any place to store lumber, so I've got lumber and insulation in there right now, and we've got stuff left over from that we just shoved in there at the end of the season last year that we got to clean up too.
Well, it's not just that, Gmont. So if you don't know the history of what's going on here, we had a homestead already established, and it was 2,400 square feet. I mean, we had a basement, we had the house,
compared to this house, we had a huge house.
We had an outbuilding and that kind of thing. So we had a lot of stuff, and we had to sell everything because we were not going to compromise our values and our liberty and our freedom. And so we said, screw the government. He quit his job, and we sold everything and then moved out here to a farm that hasn't been worked in 20 years plus. And most of the house, this is why you see a lot of the construction videos of remodeling and all of that. We literally moved into a kitchen, a living room, and 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
In a house that's 2,600 square feet. We have to rebuild.
We had 11. We've measured out when we moved in here. We had 1,100 square feet of usable space.
Right. Which for a lot, for a lot of people, that's a lot. But when you're bringing farm equipment and you have to store lumber and do all of that, we have no basement. The outbuilding is packed full of furniture and that kind of stuff. Yeah. You kind of have to scramble, and you have to make accommodations for stuff. That's
why the pantry was such a big game changer.
Huge.
It allows us to get some stuff organized. We found all kinds of stuff that we've been looking for over a year. Jared's asking where the Self-Reliance Festival is. It is at the Special Operations Equipment Compound in Camden, Tennessee.
Did you get the link written down?
For what?
They can actually go through our link, and they can get tickets for early bird special before the 22nd for $75 a piece. You didn't go get the link, did you?
No, it's in the email. I didn't. I can post it afterwards.
So we'll post that in there.
But anyway, that's when, and it's March 25th and 26th. Unfortunately, if anybody is on the East Coast in the Mid-Atlantic region at Hangman Rock, group of North Carolina preppers, Native Voice, Ghost. There's a whole bunch of people. A whole bunch of people are planning on being there. It's the same weekend at Hanging Rock National Park, and I would highly suggest that you guys go there. I think last I heard they had 35 people that were going to show up. But I was telling them in the chat the other night that that's exactly, in fact, that's bigger for a first event than the Midwest Preparedness Festival started out as. The Midwest Preparedness Festival started out as five families. Hang on a second, folks.
That's it right there at Gmail.
No, that's the Proton.
No, you're on Proton.
Yeah. Okay. I got to apologize for the little bit of going back and forth and confusion here. Stop.
Like a ding dong, put a computer in front of me.
We just upgraded to a full version of StreamYard. You notice that there's a logo in there, and we're able to do the chat up on the screen better. So we are getting used to having one computer that's got the YouTube channel going, so we can see the live chat as it's happening, and then we've got the comments going on here. So we're running two computers, and we're trying to learn how to do this.
Bear with us, guys. We're sorry.
I really do. I'm not gonna lie. The StreamYard has been much more stable than our regular. What is it? The YouTube Live. It's been much more stable than that. She got the Self-Reliance Festival.
Okay, great.
Well, that's not. I will put the.
We have a link for the tickets. So if you go in there and basically we make a little commission off that. So I'm not going to lie on it. So we make a little commission on that. So
I'll put the link down in the description.
Yeah.
Rabbit Coyote. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm not even going to bother with this.
Okay. What is that? Well, my wife would have just removed my teeth for that grumpy talk about ratings and subscribers. We've thought about it. But yeah, so if anybody is out on the East Coast, go check out Jared, if you're still in here, do you have information on that? Because I know I think you were involved in that conversation at one point. If not, you guys can contact Native or Ghost, go to their channels, and they're talking about it on their lives. And if you're not in the Mid-Atlantic states and you can make it to the Self-Reliance Festival, I highly recommend it. We are, as we said last week, we are going to be giving a presentation on food preservation, and I ran it by some people, a couple of subscribers in here. I ran it by them, and they said it was a very comprehensive one, probably too much information, to be honest with you. But we're going to do that, and we're also going to be you're going to do a canning demonstration during the day, right?
Yes. So we'll do that actually at our vendor tent. So you guys stop by. We're going to do water bath and pressure canning.
Are you going to? You sure you're going to do?
I'm going to do both. Yes. I'm going to do both.
And we're also going to be cooking dinner in the solar oven, assuming it's sunny.
Oh, I forgot to ask Nicole. Well, if we can fit it in our tent, then yeah. But I forgot to ask Nicole about that this afternoon.
Well, we'll just set it up next to the tent. There's going to be enough room.
Okay, so, but yeah, so we'll do that. Show everybody the difference between water bathing and pressure canning, and really, it's just a time saver. The only difference.
Well, Rabbit, the issue with giving a presentation in a setting like this is you've got everybody from beginners to really advanced people that are more experienced than we are, and not to say that we're the most experienced people, but they're just people have been at it a lot longer than we have, and so you have to be able to balance what you're giving everybody so that nobody gets bored.
Right.
And I think we got it.
I think so. It'll be fun. So we'll talk about, of course, canning. We're going to talk about mylar bags.
Well, we're going to talk about the various methods of food preservation. And hopefully we can get people to look at it in a little bit different light and walk away going, I can do that.
John Willis and I were talking about that too. And so it's really funny. A lot of people will tell you, well, USDA says, well, I personally don't care what USDA says. And so, but people will actually go in and Amish water bath everything.
Okay. Here's the comment.
And so, but basically what it is, if you go into some of those canning sites on Facebook and all of that, there are death threats and all kinds of stuff. You're going to kill somebody, and people get weird about that stuff. So we're just going to, instead of fighting people and all of that, we're just going to show you how we do it.
So the Amish water bath everything they can, everything. This is 100% true, Rabbit. And as a result, there's a group out there on Facebook called Rebel Canning, Rebel Canners, and they promote Rebel Canning. We do not use the term Rebel Canning around here.
It's heritage canning.
It's heritage canning because it is the way they used to can everything before the advent of the pressure canner. A lot of people don't realize that, and we've had discussion about it, and yes, there is some more inherent risk in water bathing certain foods. Thing is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if something happens and you don't have a pressure canner, or you have your pressure canner and the rubber seal on your Presto on your Presto has failed,
or you lose your weight for your All-American.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Virginia's a rebel.
You're a heritage canner.
Yep, you're a heritage canner, not a rebel. You're a heritage canner.
This is kind of,
and the reason we say that kind of tongue in cheek, but we're really trying to spread this idea that you don't have to follow what the FDA says. And you know, one of the things I found out whenever I was doing research for this presentation we're giving, and I don't remember who said it. I really wish I could remember who said it, but I wrote it down at one point and I used it. Humans have not one, but two spoilage detectors built in, and they are extremely good. It's your nose and your tongue. If you smell something and it smells bad, don't eat it. If you taste it and it tastes bad and it doesn't taste right, don't eat it. You know, and I'm telling you, it's really easy to get food poisoning, because before I joined the Marine Corps and I was living on my own, I gave myself food poisoning because I ate some bad bacon. Did not cook it well enough, and it was going bad to begin.
Well, you know, and I think as far as the food poisoning and stuff, if you have any idea of what it is to cook in a kitchen, you have to make sure you're washing your hands. You need to make sure that you're keeping clean. You're touching eggs, go wash your hands before you do the next step. You just touched raw meat, go wash your hands before you do the next step. And a lot of people get lazy and they won't do that. But the thing is, they get paid so they don't care.
See what he posted?
I did. And I think that is super
Two
cool.
old National number 7 canners. Those things, big kid, those things are worth their weight in gold. Mm-hmm. Man, those will last forever.
Yep.
Yeah, Rabbit.
In doubt, throw it out. Or just feed it to the hogs. I guarantee you the hogs won't die.
Look, smell, and taste.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Pigs will eat anything.
And that's what I say all the time. It amazes me that people don't realize what botulism is. If you smell it, if it is exploded, if there looks like there's mold on it, don't eat it.
Well, okay. Well, we'll backstep just a minute, because I can understand people's hesitancy on doing something like that, because like I said, there is an inherent risk there. But the thing is,
brainwashed you.
No. The more you learn and the more experience you have, the more that risk is mitigated, right? So you learn and you get better at it, right?
Yeah, I've had food fail. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
I did some potatoes, and oh man,
we had
what,
20? We had 20 jars of potatoes, and we were getting ready to move, and I knocked one off the shelf, and it broke in the pantry, and our old pantry was kind of small, and it stank up the entire house.
Come to find out, nothing. Somehow it didn't seal, and so I had gotten a false seal on that, but this was also around the time of COVID and all that stuff. So I learned through other things that I was doing in my kitchen over the last few years, the lids have not been that reliable, which is one of the reasons why I started changing over to a different brand of lids.
Ghetto said email the details of the Ohio weekend coming, Ohio Bug Out Weekend. I heard them
talk. Part of Ohio.
I heard them talking about that. I heard them talking about that, and that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, so there, you know, there's all kinds of events coming up, and I ask you guys this all the time. If you haven't gone and signed up for freesteading, if anything, go sign up and get into the state group, and then get on the calendar and post these things as you find them on the calendar. I posted, I don't remember what I was doing, but I ran across a group up in Nebraska that was doing sheep classes one weekend in March. Yeah. And I posted those on the calendar, and there was a guy in the Nebraska group that was like, I've been in Nebraska my entire life. I didn't even realize this group existed, so it's just one of those things. We need to get out and we need to start sharing this information with each other. Hey, yeah.
Skeins girl, that's a problem that I have been having all day long. So I was actually on the live with Living Free in Tennessee this afternoon, and I could not follow the chat. I actually, when she got me in the green room, she had to highlight all of the comments or else I couldn't see them. So something's wrong behind the scenes.
Jonathan asked, what brand do you recommend out talking about the lids? We were talking about my failed seals on Zoom last week.
His what? His failed
seals? He had some things fail.
4 jars.
4 jars.
Yeah, go to 4jars.com, and 4 jars, they guarantee their first seal.
Yep.
So
and they're reusable, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I don't want any feedback on that. They are reusable.
Well, so are ball lids.
Yeah, they are. But the rubber is just a lot thicker on them and a lot wider. And the metal is actually thicker.
Yeah.
And I really like them. So 4 jars. And that's one word.
Yep. The
so
number.
We'll put the link in.
Yeah, we'll put
underneath.
the link down. We should be probably writing these down. So
hand me that. You want me to grab a pen?
Yeah, grab a pen. Because I'll be honest with you, by the time this is over, I'll forget. Oh, canning lids. Jonathan was talking about canning lids, not the rubber gaskets. Oh no, Big Kid talked about the hardware stores having the rubber seals for your canners.
Oh yeah, Ace Hardware is perfect for that. And so that's usually my go-to. And they also do a clearance every once in a while. And I don't care if I have the canner for that ring or for the, for the rubber seal or whatever, or for the gauge, I pick them up. But I also teach a lot of classes and I run into a lot of people. And so they'll bring me canners and they'll say, hey, does this work? This was down in great grandma's basement. And I look and I go, okay, we need to get this part, and then here's this, and I can put everything together.
Oh, and what are we giving away, or what are we throwing into the giveaway pot at Self-Reliance?
Oh, I'm gonna put in, so only because the feedback we got at Back to the Land, there were so many people that just didn't know how to get started, and I also hear a lot of people that say they can't afford. So we're gonna throw in a pressure canner and starter kit. We're going to get you all started. So that will be in the raffle at Self-Reliance Festival.
Yeah, the raffle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Rabbit Coyote said, well, let's pull it up there so I don't have to read it so small. I've reused ball canning lids before, never had a failure. Also reused and water bath old pickle and condiment. Okay, so Rabbit, we do that too.
Rabbit, I don't mean to laugh.
We do both those things too, but we have had lids seal. In fact, if you go back on our video library, there is a series of videos about a turkey broth incident we had about this time last year.
No, it was Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving of 20. It was the first Thanksgiving in this house. So Thanksgiving of 2021.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But we were still cleaning turkey broth off the ceiling as of the middle of the summer because we kept finding these little specks of turkey broth.
And I'm still cleaning the grease from the broth off of the ceiling.
So yeah, so they will fail. The key, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the key is to make sure that the lid's not bent or nicked.
Correct.
And that the seal looks like it's in good shape.
And do you remember why they failed at Thanksgiving?
No.
They failed at Thanksgiving. So the rings, when Ball actually moved their manufacturing out of the United States and it went over to China. So what started happening when we started having the jar shortage and all that, they just started making them doing whatever. And so we were actually getting rings that looked okay. And if you did the finger tight, it seemed like they were sealed.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Right?
That. I remember.
And so, but they really are not sealed, but it seemed like they were pure, but they really weren't. And so through the vibrating and all of that, through the water bath, they would reverse and then come apart, and then you lift that pressure, the pressure lid, and guess what happens?
I really wish I would have been. I would have been filming her, because when that happened, her eyeballs were about that big around, and she had this. She's like, oh.
Instead, he grabbed the camera after watching me cry as I was looking at what I had to clean up.
But,
That was bad.
It's the life of a creator, baby. You're the one that chose to put our life out there with me.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
I was just being a good submissive wife.
But
that's on my end.
I've had fun doing the channel.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been really great. I had a really good time on the live with Nicole Sauce and John Willis, and then Joel was there. Coach Steven was in there. It was very interesting to see some of the things that we all had in common. So it was great.
That's one of the cool things about going to these festivals. Well, number one, they're because of the topic, you're drawing people that are like-minded, but you really get to see some people and hone in on people that are traveling the same path you're traveling.
Yeah, and if you go in and you just listen to our conversation, especially towards the end, and you hang in there, you kind of see what happens in the conversations. And like Nicole pointed out, the conversations that happen at places like Self-Reliance Festival and Midwest Preparedness Project and all of that, you never really know what you're going to stumble into, and you're going to learn a lot.
Scans girls doing chicken sausage gumbo and chicken jambalaya.
Yummy.
Man, all that rice though, I can't eat that stuff.
I can.
I fell off yesterday. I ate some potatoes next. I got a free. Still doing well. I was down 37 pounds, so I'm these little cheat days don't hurt me too terribly much. Let's see. Rabbit says he usually checks to see if an old lid will reseal by vacuum sealing it, then waiting a week to see if it leaks. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and see, that's probably part of the problem. I didn't vacuum seal it, but on the potatoes, I also didn't go back and check.
That's one of the things I love about these lives and our subscribers and people that come up to them. Seriously, it's the smartest group of people on the internet, and I'm sure there are a whole bunch of smarter people out there, but as far as being together as a group and sharing information, you guys come up with some of the best stuff. What do you want? Which one? Satan Hunter?
Yes. So,
that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Mom almost blew the kitchen up back in 1982 with a pressure canner. Good thing we grew up in an age of diving under the school desk when stuff went boom. Amen. Seriously, if you listen to, I'm surprised. Surprised we made it through childhood. Yeah. My gosh.
But that's like what we were talking about this afternoon. You guys go check it out if you haven't. It was great. And but that was one of the things we were talking about this afternoon. The pressure canners today, they're almost impossible to blow up. I mean, you would have to put manure and all kinds of other chemicals in there to make it a bomb to blow it up.
There you go, Scanes. Under the bed. That's the best place to have stuff, man. In fact, I just had dinner from under the bed the other day, didn't I?
Yeah, you do that quite a few times. Yeah.
She made some sloppy Joe mix that I love just eating straight from the can.
Well, and the smoked fish.
Oh yeah, the smoked fish that we made last summer. That was I'm going through that. But so that's about it. The goings on around here this week, that kind of tops it off, doesn't it? With the canning, the freeze drying, the getting the pantry. I still owe you guys a video for the pantry.
We're just trying to figure out how to do that.
Well, Lucky told me how to do it.
Oh,
I just got to get out there. The property, because of the fiasco with.
Oh yeah, nobody got that information.
Because of the fiasco with the live stream last week, we didn't get to talk about the property that went for sale nearby.
Right next door. It doesn't matter. It's right next door.
All right.
It's not listed, so nobody knows. If you're interested, you can let us know.
It's right next door. It's 10 acres. They want $85,000 for it. It's an old 20 years ago, it was a truck farm, and the guy that owned the local grocery store raised all the fresh vegetables for his grocery store on that property.
I think it was even longer than that.
And it's 10 acres, so it's $8,500 an acre, and we thought that was way expensive.
We thought so.
We had our real estate agent. It's kind of weird saying that because you're not my real estate agent.
I know.
Anymore.
Usually I'm your real estate
We
agent.
had our real estate agent run some comps on it, and he came back and said for that property at this time,
it's a good deal.
8,500 is a really good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, we think you can get it for lower.
Yeah, she said, you know, come with an offer and see what you think. But we got first right of refusal. We haven't refused yet. Professionally haven't refused yet. And she also said that if we could help sell it, that they would appreciate it. So yeah, if you're interested, right now he's running cattle on it. But I think actually because he was running cattle on it, give it 1 or 2 years, maybe 3.
Well, it's
1-2 years, maybe 3. It can go back to the same production.
It's a blank slate for regenerative agriculture.
Right.
There's a lot of compacting on it. But if you get out there and work the land properly, it's all river bottom, and you can dig almost any place up and down this valley we live in and go down 12 to 14 inches and still have hydrated topsoil even in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. So Grandma Merkel, I would almost agree with you on that if we were talking about a different property or a different piece of real estate. So when you're looking at new construction, you're suburbs, that kind of thing. Yeah, you're right. The market's tanking. And so it's going to get lower and all of that. When you start looking at land and you start looking at what people are saying, and they're trying to fight for their freedom, they want to get to like-minded communities, they want to do all of that. That's not true. So the property is actually going up.
Well, and
in
that's
fact,
the reason
when we got those with the comps from the property next door, we both kind of turned and looked at each other because we were looking at the acreage that we have, and our acreage is worth more than our house.
Yeah, our 12 acres is worth more than the buildings that are sitting on it right now. You know, so it's just it's kind of crazy, especially coming from the market that we came from, where we, you know, it was a seller's market.
I told you, you know, so basically when people start fleeing, and that's what they were doing, they were fleeing New York and California and Washington and all of that. When they start fleeing like that, then it just creates a bubble. There's nothing you can do about that.
Right.
So, but we're also not going to pretend here. We're a little, we're happy that it did. Feel really bad for the kids that bought it, but we're happy that it did because we were able to sell our house and come pay cash for this one.
If equity was a real thing, they made it out like a bandit.
Yeah.
If equity is a real thing. Doc Creek says he's still seeing farms hold value. And that's what we're seeing around here. In fact, they're going up in value because
China wants them.
Well, there's not a lot of inventory. And B, especially in this area, there have been so many of them sold on cash sales, you know, for sell by owners.
There's no comps.
There's no comps on it. And so that will drive the prices up too.
Right.
You know, so because I'll be honest with you, I don't think our property's worth what he told us it's worth.
I don't care what you think. You're not a professional.
I know.
You're not in the market. I mean, I care what you think, but you don't know that.
I know. I just don't see.
This is one of the things that always drove me nuts as a real estate agent, is you would have people that say, "I'm just going to sell the property myself." 9 times out of 10, if you sell a property by yourself, you are leaving $25,000 to $50,000 on the table every time. Every time.
That's the same. We saw the same thing in Missouri. Rabbit says he's from the Ozarks. He's probably seeing it too, because it was even worse down in the Ozarks than it was up in West Central Missouri.
Well, and it's even happening here in Kansas in the rural area. So yeah.
So yeah, it's a crazy thing. Well, you want to get into local happenings and some news now?
Sure.
So I had a very, very interesting conversation with one of our neighbors the other day. And he was talking, one of his good friends is the sheriff in a neighboring county, or sheriff's deputy, one of the two. And he made the comment that he was told that they are seeing increased cartel activity.
I thought this was supposed to be good news.
Well, no, we gotta start here. This is a place to start.
Right. There's 10 acres for sale right next door. Come on.
No, you're gonna let me finish now.
Yeah, finish. It's funny.
So this is something we need to be aware of is increased activity, because it's only going to get worse, and not just cartel and everything. It's why it's so important to have a community. And I'm going to tell you what.
Yeah, that's true.
This little area that we live in, it's probably outside of the National Guard armories and Leavenworth, probably the most secure area in the entire state.
Oh yeah, I don't worry about it. I can actually leave, and I know that one of our, and I say neighbors, but if you live in the country, you know it could be miles. I know somebody's coming by and they got our back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so that's where I was going with this. I wasn't trying to blackpill people.
I was just like,
I was trying to let people know that this is the reason why we built community.
Hey, there's a pretty piece of land for sale and it's cheap, but we have a cartel problem. That's where it was. I thought it was funny, but anyway.
But so that's just something to think about. And the other part of that is that we need to start practicing security, homestead security. And we've been really lax recently because it's a pain locking the gate, getting out and opening it up and shutting it back up. But it's something that we got to start doing on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And make sure if you carry, make sure you're carrying too. Let's see here.
Yeah. So
which one?
I think so. Satan Hunter. I don't know what's going on with the bonfire, and maybe that was something from the presidential address or whatever.
I don't know.
All of a sudden, Missouri had all kinds of wildfires. And
yeah.
Who knows what? Where did he even get that? I have no clue.
I don't know. They have wildfires, but nothing like Colorado.
And nothing like what he was saying. Yeah. Like it was just it was devastated.
Okay, Ravid, we were gonna talk about that tonight because that was one of the topics that came up on the live with Nicole. Mm-hmm. The one thing you tell him what you told Nicole.
Well,
about what it's going to affect, what people aren't talking about.
So
you're not the first person that said that.
Oh, I wasn't?
That I've heard.
Oh, okay. So one of the things that came up, they were like, well, something's missing. I think Ed was talking and John and Coach and Nicole, they were all on there and I had not popped up yet. I was still back in the green room. And one of the things that came up is something doesn't seem right. They're leaving something out. This wasn't done. It wasn't done correctly the way that you would think that it should be done, the way that in the past cleanup things have been done. So they said, definitely something's been left out. Well, I know what's being left out, what they're not talking about. What they're not talking about is agriculture and how this is affecting agriculture. And if you understand agriculture, then, it starts with our soil. So you can go to the EPA, and EPA now has a list of what Norfolk Southern has actually told them that they had. Well, they had way more chemicals than what was reported. And so there becomes a danger zone in there, right? And so why in the world they chose to burn it like that? And they're reporting in several different areas explosions. But part of the problem is it's actually leaking when vinyl chloride, and that was on there, when it hits the environment, when it's exposed to the environment. So it goes up into the air, and this is why you're seeing the 500-mile spread, and it's getting more and more. When it hits the air, what happens is the light particles will start to break that down. It becomes clear. You're not going to see it. It's not like a black dust or anything is coming down, and it turns into several other chemicals. One of those chemicals being formaldehyde. And so you start putting formaldehyde in there, and think about it, anybody, especially people that are farming correctly and homesteading correctly, you have layers. So everything is being layered in there. That's how you're getting your soil healthy. You're doing all that. Your cover crops are everywhere. Well, what do your lambs, goats, your cows, they're grazers. And so they go in and graze and they're eating all of that stuff. And they're getting all of those chemicals inside them. That's why they're dying. That's why they're falling over. Birds are the same way. Birds are grazers. And so, they'll go out. They want what's in the ground. They want those worms and all of that. So basically what I had said, and it wasn't to black pill anybody, it was just, make sure that you get prepared now if you haven't been, because if you think there's a food shortage now, just wait.
Well, and the disruption in the food supply chain because of all the trains being backed up and rerouted. Carlene said something about the chemicals that were there.
Yeah, you definitely make drugs out of that.
Well, the one that got me was they did the controlled burn, and the stuff, it was in a ditch, and they lit it on fire to get rid of it, which okay, I can kind of see it, but when you're going to do it, you should at least know what's going to happen when you do that, because when they burned it off, it was some stuff to make PVC and something else.
There's all kinds of stuff in there.
It made phosgene gas, and phosgene gas is what they used in World War I to kill people.
Yeah,
and it was just and somebody wasn't thinking when they did that. And then I was just right before we came on the live stream tonight, I was reading a news article where the contaminants had made it into the Ohio River, so the ecological impact of this is going to be huge. Yeah, vision preparedness is they basically nuked the town.
Well, so here's something really interesting. You're right. Essentially, they did, and so then they immediately got that train off of there, put more soil in, got all that ready to go, and now they're running more of the same trains through that town. Excuse me. The town, all the residents actually call them bomb trains. And they call them bomb trains because they're barreling through town at high speeds. Now, we used to live next to a railroad track. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen how that happens. And they do. It's a mile a minute. And the reason why shipping is so expensive, they're trying to just get as much as they can on the train and get it to where they want it to go. But there are consequences to choices that you make. Problem is, they just don't give a crap.
Okay, on a side note, Starla was asking about pectin. If anybody wants to know how to make pectin, Rabid Coyote just posted the recipe. So copy that and put it down and go make your own pectin. Save a little bit of money and use more natural ingredients.
Or just go ahead and use sugar cane and
Virginia
leave out
or vision preparedness says he's 175 miles west of there. Yeah, it's going to affect a lot of people.
So it was really interesting. Another article that I saw, Ben Ratner, Ratner. So he lives in that town. His house is there. And they actually did a movie, and I'm not sure when the movie came out, and it was called White Noise. And he was an extra. A bunch of them went to a neighboring town to be extras in this movie because they thought it would be cool. And guess what it was about? It was about a train derailment with heavy chemicals. And now he's living his nightmare. Yeah.
So I hated growing up in a family that is now called preppers when I was a kid. After the last 3 years, I'm glad I was raised by crazy conspiracy theorists. You know how your relatives need to talk to you if you're a conspiracy theorist? First thing they should say is, I'm sorry. Seriously.
I'm sorry you're not awake.
It's really kind of funny talking to people now that all this stuff has gone on, because they it's like they're in shock, and they're in shock because their normalcy bias is getting completely shattered.
Yeah, but then turn around and look at how many of them are in fear. They're absolutely paralyzed.
Yep.
So all of this stuff, all this information is coming in, and it's making them scared. And it's making them so scared that they can't they can't put anything up. They can't, they can't. They say they can't.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why we do this stuff, why we have these lives and we do our videos, because we don't want people to be afraid. We want people, Jonathan, waking up scary. Some days, absolutely. We want people to feel empowered. We want people to understand that they can do this.
Yeah.
Okay, here's some news that's going to affect us as homesteaders. It's going to affect us, and as anybody that goes to the grocery store. So there's two conflicting stories out there. So the U.S. ag exports set fresh highs in 2002. FarmProgress.com had an article about that, and they were wondering if the high prices would last, or the high revenue would last. And that's just it. The article was about revenue and value versus the amount of food. If you go do a Google search on record low harvests in 2022, you will find all sorts of local newspapers talking about how the local corn harvest, the local soybean harvest, the local cattle production is all gone down. So what that
But
means,
that's also big ag.
well, it's
That's
big ag,
commercial ag.
but what's happening is they're exporting a record amount of stuff overseas, and they're taking it off our shelves. And it's really kind of weird that I found this report because I think it was Travis at Prepared Homestead Prepared Homestead channel did a video just a couple days ago about this, and he was talking about, he wasn't talking about this specific news article, but he was talking about the same thing. So it's out there for people to see if they can open their eyes and look at it. So that's one thing. So that, get prepared, plant your garden. If you're not raising protein, raise protein. There's a lot of people on here that can give you some advice. We got everybody. Jonathan just started raising rabbits. Mrs. Hacks and Hacks started raising rabbits now. We've got all the we've been doing sheep and goats, chickens, and we're going to get back into
rabbits and hogs.
We're
going to get the hogs back on this year.
We had to put those on the back burner.
Right, which we need to get with Shane because I want to find out his connection down in Nevada.
Yeah. The next one, and this is going to affect you as homesteaders and as preppers. In June, I think June 11th.
This is awful.
Over-the-counter livestock antibiotics are going to require a prescription.
Yeah. So if your fish is sick,
if your fish is sick,
got to take it to the vet.
You're not going to be able to get the prescriptions over the counter anymore. That's going to, as homesteaders, that's a pain because
pain.
We have used for animals that are really sick. Like they've got an infection that's easily curable,
like a strep throat or
a cut or anything like that.
Yeah, something that's really bad.
Well, and then the whenever the coof rolled around, the I word, we used that as a dewormer. Although we did find a natural dewormer now.
I was going to say, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. I haven't wormed our animals in years.
Well, we used to use it for worming. We quit.
We pulled hogs on. I think you're talking about when I pulled the hogs on. So when the first time we pulled hogs on, and because of where they came from, not that it was bad, but because they were hogs, I did go ahead and I dewormed everybody. But I did that in a pellet form. So because I had to get the chickens and the turkeys and the ducks, and I had to make sure everybody was there because hogs can be it could be a disaster zone if you bring hogs with worms on your property.
Yeah. Well, and Satan Hunter, if I can hit the right button, regulate away the ability to be self-sufficient. Right. And unfortunately, that's what's happening.
Well, and that's the whole thing. And so, that's what I kind of mentioned today on the other live was that, it's very conspiracy theory, but this is all being done intentional because what better way to get you in line if you have to, I'm just going to say it. What better way to get you in line if you have to depend on the government for your food?
Or your medicine.
Or your
security.
Yes, right. Yeah. And so, you're no longer going to be out there shaking your fist and willing to put a boot in the ass of your enemy because you're hungry and you need medicine and all of that. Yep. So I literally, for us, it's about having medicine in the ground, knowing how to do all of that. Let your weeds grow. What you call weeds, I call medicine. And so, there can be some dangerous weeds, but there was one I was certainly going to pull out off the property. And after Saturday, I because I couldn't find the research to actually identify it correctly. And there just so happened to be a picture of it on Saturday, and it's old Indian medicine. It is actually Indian plantain. And so we have it on our property. It's a natural dewormer. And I also have some other things on the property that are natural dewormers. Chickens are great. Turkeys are great. Yep. They free range. They just go get what they need. Yep. But now I know what to grab and intentionally put into paddocks and that kind of thing.
Both Big Kid and Carlene talked about natural remedies. And I think this is something that if you're not into it, you should probably start getting really into it. It's amazing how much stuff is around.
Yeah.
You know, I think I may have talked about it on here before. I don't know. But I work for a Native American tribe, so I'm kind of plugged into stuff that's going on in the American Indian community. And there was a research group that was studying Neolithic Indian tribes. And did you know that before the advent of the white man on the continent, that the Indians did not have a tradition of preventative medicine? They had like first aid medicine, like you broke your leg or you got shot by an arrow or mauled by a bear.
Chew up some plantain, throw it on there.
So they did not have a history of preventative medicine. And they sat down and they started looking at the diet, and what they figured out was they had no need for preventative medicine because they ate it. It was part of their diet. And so they didn't catch colds, and they didn't get rickets, and they didn't get all these diseases that we look at fixing through preventative means. And so I become a true believer that we should start getting back to that and start looking at natural remedies. I'm on heart medicine. I got 2 stents in my chest because my body is a temple to bad mistakes and a poor eating habits. But they had me on a beta blocker, and it was completely screwing me up. Well, I did some research, and alpha blockers do basically the same thing as beta blockers, but the difference is they do it in a different manner, and they're all natural versus beta blockers, which are by and large chemical and man-made. Oh, Lucy's having some glitches.
Oh, sorry, Lucy.
Sorry, Lucy. You have a great week. Take care of that cold and get some videos up of your chicken coop. I want to see how that's coming along.
Yeah. So did you see Ghetto? You passed it. You'll have to go back up there. Yeah. So he's the one that's putting on the Ohio. Yeah.
Hey, Vision, if you want, go on here. I'm going to post.
Why don't you guys just set up like a live or something and do something? He can promote that, and you can cross, because Ohio Valley is not too far. You can get quite a few people there.
Hey, go ahead and send me an email with your contact information, and we'll get together and we'll see if we can't do something to promote that for you guys, and get if you want. I mean, that's assuming you don't want every Yahoo coming out of the woodwork going to your thing.
But these meetups are actually really great filters, is what we found, and a lot of people in our community have found. So we know the people that, hell no, you're not stepping foot on my property and you're not going to know where I live, to the people that were like, oh my gosh, please, will you buy the property next door?
So, in all seriousness, that's what the Midwest Preparedness Festival, you hear Spags talking about it, and Tag and all these people. It started out as a way to vet people, and I spent a year with them vetting us. The very first one.
Your first impression wasn't so great.
Well, with the women, all the guys thought I was awesome.
Oh yeah, sure.
The wives did not like me.
They thought he was a wife beater. They had no idea what happens behind the scenes. Now they do, and they just laugh.
Oh, Rickster,
can I please what?
Get some prayers for this dang kidney stone. Oh man,
oh yeah,
that's tough, man. I've
never had that, so I don't really know.
I've never had a full on. I've had the starts of one that passed, and it was one of the most painful things I've ever had happen. Yeah. We'll say, everybody, if you find it in your heart, say a prayer for Rickster, because that's some painful stuff right there. But that's I don't remember where we were going.
Oh, well, I was just, so I already went through that. Oh, wait. So on the derailment, I want to go back a little bit because I thought this was interesting. The health department, the girl came out, the health department, she started telling everybody what to do. They have the all clear 3 days after to go home, back into their homes. But then they were told that they needed to make sure that they clean their entire house and make sure that it's, disinfected and all of that stuff. And specifically, when you go to vacuum your carpet, you have to do it in small strokes and this kind of thing and blah, blah, blah. And otherwise, you release the chemical back into the air.
Right.
So why would you clean the surfaces before you clean the carpet?
I don't know. You knock everything down on the ground and then you vacuum it up off the ground.
Just to go ahead and release
I don't know.
it again? Made no sense. I do still make great sandwiches.
I was waiting for you to see that. Can't leave me hanging like that. I remember where I was going with all this. So there's all this
the meetups,
all this news. But yeah, well, we got sidetracked on the meetups, but all this news, food shortages, increased crime, Chinese balloons. Number one, don't let them distract you. Keep your mind focused on what you need to do now. Do an inventory of what you've got going on and start filling any holes.
Vision, just real quick, I'm sorry. Did you go in and look at some of those lawsuits? And so some of them are really weird. I don't think we're getting the full report on all of that. I think there's more than what we are being told. So I'm going to wait for some other things to come out and then dive into that, kind of see who I can find out there. I bet you I know somebody that is on the law side that will be able to figure out exactly what is in those lawsuits, because they're not sharing a lot.
Well, and that's another thing that the train derailment. Look at the experts. The experts in cleanup and the big company who are the experts in transportation and the government experts. And this is just one more example of how the government can do stuff, but it doesn't do stuff. It doesn't do anything really great. It really doesn't. Private people can do it way better. And you may say, well, look, the trains are private companies. No, the trains are one step away from being nationalized in this country. That's just a simple fact.
Satan Hunter, yeah, as far as the balloons and stuff, I think you're right too. And now they're starting to say that these were weather balloons that were not reported. And, because they have to get permission before they release weather balloons. But the thing is, if you go back, nobody who has reported that they've launched a weather balloon has lost a weather balloon. So I'm sure somebody's going to be bought off at some point to claim that. And, but you're absolutely right. No, this is all a distraction, and all the way down to aliens and extraterrestrials and the whole nine yards. So it's just a distraction, and what they're trying to do, and I truly believe, whether I get my belief, I have my freedom. So my belief is they are creating a war, and the best way to do that is keep us distracted, get everybody else on the edge, and just say, okay, now we have everybody behind us and we're going in. It's the only way they can fix the economy.
Extra, those dehydrated Twinkies may be the reason why you've got a kidney stone and Viking gnomes. In all seriousness, though, we need to stay focused, and we need to start looking at plugging holes. It's going to get harder and harder to start plugging holes because prices are going to go up. And so we need to start thinking outside the box. And I did some research on something this weekend, just as a lark. I wanted to see, and I'm going to make a video about looking for alternatives when you may run out of stuff that you need.
Assets have assets.
I'm specifically food.
Assets have assets.
I
bartered for some food. I literally bartered food for food.
Yep.
So Mrs. Hacks is going to raise 30 meat birds for me. She's buying them. She's raising them. And I have a lamb that as soon as it's weaned, it is going to Mrs. Hacks in trade.
Yep.
How about that?
So work on that barter. Bartering is a perishable skill too.
Yeah.
Some people are
grew up in San Diego, down in Tijuana all the time. Of course I know how to do that.
So we
The grumpy Valentine stream.
Yeah, it's very grumpy.
I got a
Valentine's.
kiss on the neck and was told Happy Valentine's Day as he grabbed his dinner out of the warmer.
I was hungry.
He was hungry.
Yeah. That's one thing about our chat. I get easily distracted with these guys because they are so fun to interact with. You know, but start thinking outside the box. You may end up not being able to get what you need, and you may have to settle for something that's out of the ordinary. Let's just put it that way.
Or just get prepared and make sure that you got what you need on hand and what others need on hand. And as you build your community, you'll listen to other people and you'll hear what their goals are. So if you see something on clearance, you can pick it up. Like I have an entire drawer, like I said, of extra canning parts. And I do that because I may not own that canner, but somebody in our circle may own that canner. And now I've got rings and that kind of thing. So you have to think outside the box on those things.
That's probably one of the hardest things for me moving into this place was I collected tools and nails and all kinds of little extra things that you run out of really quick when you're on a homestead. And I either had to get rid of them or I can't find the dang things.
Yeah. Well, what we need to do is we've got a 30 by 50 outbuilding. The problem is, what would you say, half of it, the people that were here before, he just kept everything. So there's motors and all kinds of stuff in there. And basically what we need to do, we're going on 2 years. So I think I'm just going to pull the plug. Definitely at 2 years in October, I am pulling the plug.
Oh yeah.
And all of that stuff will start going to the dump. And we have to get organized here because this has been ridiculous.
Jonathan, these are the way that people get nicknames that they don't want. Whenever you tell stories like that, this is how you get nicknames that are not the best.
Right. So I had to be really careful, and it was super cute. And I think I know who did it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I came home yesterday. I had to go get feed and spent 3 hours in line to get feed. We got snow coming in and rain and all that. So everybody knew they had to go get their feed at the time. So I come back and I see this sticking out of my mailbox. And I don't know if you can see it. It's Happy Valentine's Day. And so I was like, oh, that's super sweet. And I immediately thought, oh, that was the Martin kids. And so I was excited about that to see.
Did you ask them if it was them?
I did, and I haven't got an answer back. They're not going to answer.
What if it's some creepy neighbor we don't know about?
Right. So this is kind of what happens. So he pulls in right after I pull it. Well, I was at the gate unlocking it.
You were unlocking the gate when I pulled up.
And so we both pull in, and so I'm getting the truck unloaded with all my stuff, and it came out with this balloon. And I'm like, this was in our mailbox. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, you got a stalker. And I'm like, why do you have to put that crap in my head? I know it's the Martin kids. I don't have a stalker. I just got kids that appreciate me. So all good.
Okay, where are we?
Oh, what did you do?
Oh, I was just trying to catch up on the chat.
Yeah.
I was talking about the WEF international governance, and that's the thing. They I've got this standard thing that I live by, that if somebody tells me they're going to do something to me, I take them at their word. And that's what we.
Maybe you have a stalker. It's for you, not for me.
Hey, you know what? At least there's one person out in the world that thinks I'm worth stalking. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but I don't want to find a rabbit in a stew pot on my stove when
How do you know
come
it's
home.
a chick?
Oh, gross. That's
Exactly.
even worse. Oh gosh.
There's a story. I'll tell you what. If any of you guys go to Self-Reliance Festival, we are camping, so we will be around the campfire.
You chat disconnected.
Oh,
weird. Yeah, we're buffering right now.
No, we're buffering.
Or we did buffer. I don't know if it'll come back. We probably need to.
No, we lost. Anyway. We lost the internet because it's.
Sorry about that computer.
Our laptops on
I'm gonna just
battery
turn
power,
this
and
off,
it's
okay?
it's dying, so it lost connection. Anyway, so if you go to Self-Reliance Festival and you're there for the camp out, because they shut the gate and only the people that are camping are inside the fence and around the campfire. Ask me about my admirer whenever I got out of Marine Corps boot camp, and I will tell you the story
Night
about
vision.
that. Oh, night vision. Yeah, send me that email, bro. But yeah, and I will tell that story because even now, 30 some years removed, it's still as creepy. It's as funny as it is creepy to me. Because it was the first time. It was the first first time I ever had to deal with anything like that. So yeah, just ask me about that. I will tell the story. Yeah, and it didn't involve any alcohol either. That's the surprising thing.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, babe, we're at an hour and 15
minutes. Okay, you guys got anything you want to ask? Any
questions, comments, anything like that? Throw them in.
Throw them in there real quick because it's getting towards the end of the evening. We got some stuff we got to do to get ready for tomorrow.
I gotta get stuff in the freeze dryer.
Oh, Lucky Dame's got dairy-free ice cream. It's not really ice cream,
It's
then,
not
is it?
ice cream. It's like some kind of weird water or nut thing.
You know why they call it almond milk, don't you? Do you know why they call it almond milk?
Why?
Because nobody would drink it if it was called nut juice.
Oh, gross. No, I did not get flowers, but I've got a funny thing about that. I appreciate my flowers outside and that kind of thing. And I appreciate them plant wise and that. I think it's a huge waste of money to go and buy a $35 to $100 bouquet of flowers and have them sit on my counter and I have to watch them turn brown and fall apart.
No, Satan Hunter.
So,
it was after I got out of boot camp and I was released into the civilian world.
So, I used to get, when we were young and dating and he had to impress me. Of course,
she used to get mad at me when I didn't buy her flowers.
Of course, I used to work at a gym and I worked at the gym on base at North Island. And so when that happened,
a bunch of losers hitting on her till this guy came along.
I was getting what you're talking about. But he would send in and have delivered 24 long stem roses, almost a lot. I don't know how often it was, but a lot. So it got, needless to say, everybody's attention, and everybody knew I was taken.
Ghetto, you missed it. You missed it earlier. The white noise was done by somebody that lives in that community.
Ben Ratner, he lives there with his family. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely something. We're gonna go check.
But I also did hear you can get through about the first 15 minutes, and then after that, it's like a snoozer. So I don't know. I didn't watch it yet.
Never, absolutely. Never the almost had these.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that's oh God, what was I listening to? Somebody is releasing vegetarian something. It wasn't the Impossible Burger. It was something else, and it was like, yeah, that's not meat of any sort if it's vegetarian.
If you guys go in and you check out Understanding Ag AG, so is it ag.com, right?
Yeah.
So understandingag.com, you might be able to get to a video. I don't know. Shane may be the only one that owns it. I doubt it. He's probably put that on there. There's an entire breakdown. All I hear G after it says, "Oh yeah, I'm so letting our daughter know this." Plants are actually carnivores.
Plants are carnivores because there's a guy doing research, and it was in the presentation. But this guy's doing research, and he found out that what happens whenever the roots go out, there's these little there's an interaction there, and basically what the plant does is it takes in these little particles of protein and strips everything off of them, and then puts it back out in the soil, and so essentially, since plants are eating the protein, they are carnivore.
Yeah. So, but they don't want you to know that, and they don't want you to break that down. And it's just like somebody else said, don't eat the, what was it? No.
Don't eat the Beyond Meat.
Don't eat the Beyond Meat. Well, let me tell you this story. So it was really funny because I've got my aunt's a vegetarian, my daughter is a vegan. which I crack up laughing about. But so they're those things, and so they sit there and they tell me about this impossible burger and all this, and it's just wonderful, and they've really done a great job with it. So I start researching a little bit. And did you know how they put that meat taste into the Impossible Burger is actually blood from the cow?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so you think you're vegan, you think you're vegetarian, and they're literally putting this crap into your body. So basically, what it is, they want to bioengineer everything and make it and force you to
Okay.
eat it that way.
And for the record, for the record, we don't care if somebody's vegan.
Oh no, you
We
guys
could
do
care.
your thing, yeah.
We could care less. What we
It
care,
just gets shoved in our face.
what we care about is whenever people try to make their reality our reality.
Yeah.
And it's like that with anything. It's
Right.
social issues, health issues, anything.
I can't come visit you at Christmas if I don't have a vegan dinner. So I end up, of course, doing 2 dinners. So
Gma says, oh, wrong one. If you're allergic to shellfish, stay out of the crickets. I'm gonna have to go look that one up. I hadn't heard that one before, but that almost makes sense. No, I like my plant.
Oh, because shrimp.
Well, you're full of a lot of good one-liners tonight, Satan Hunter. You're on a roll, man. I like my plant food right next to my dead animals on my plate. Well, I'm a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian too. I just run my vegetables through cows and pigs and chickens. Yeah.
Oh yeah, underwater. Oh. Yeah, I knew that, underwater bugs. That's what I was thinking with the cricket. Kind of makes sense. I think I remember something that the crickets and shrimp are kind of identical in their anatomy.
Lobsters are cockroaches, are big aquatic cockroaches.
But it was lobster, yeah, lobster and cockroaches, and I thought it was like crickets and shrimp.
Something like that. I don't know.
I don't know.
I remember the lobster thing now though, that you mentioned it. But boy, this has kind of gone all over the place tonight, hasn't it?
This is kind of how living free in Tennessee is kind of how our round robin went. But guys, I think this is really fun because when this happens, this is it. Just like Nicole says, these are the conversations that you get and information. You learn a lot and you get a lot of information. You're only going to find that when you get around like-minded people and actually talk and deal with each other. So there you go.
So we do need to start wrapping this up, but I want to.
We're almost an hour and a half. You're getting almost as bad as Tag.
So tomorrow, speaking of Tag, he and I are going to do what's essentially a follow-up on the weak man, strong man conversation that Spags and I had. We're gonna talk about lesser men and leaders, and it's going to be a discussion on moral and ethics and the likes like that. And quite frankly, when the idea popped up in my mind, and I was like, I can't think of anybody else to talk about that with than Tag, as far as anybody that I know. Okay. So tomorrow at 7 p.m., we're doing it on Wednesday instead of Thursday because Tag and B are doing their live on Thursday because of some scheduling issues. Oh no, Rabbit! Don't talk about. Oh
yeah,
no balut.
No balut. If you saw my face, there's no way.
Yeah,
no way.
But
and that has nothing to do with shellfish.
Anyway, so there's that, and then we are still planning. We're trying to figure out a night to do another conflicted night because everybody seemed to enjoy that. And since we're on the full version of StreamYard now, it's going to be a little bit better than it was last time because I got number one, I know how to use StreamYard now. But so we're gonna do that, and we'll get people up on the panel. And this one, I've been trying to talk her into doing a strong woman, weak woman panel with some people, and she's been kind of working on it, but you feel a lot more comfortable now, right?
Yeah. So it was really funny because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get in there. And Nicole is actually the one that called it because I'm not sure what she was thinking on her side. But it was, I just thought, how am I going to screw this up? And I need to watch what I say. And then I got in there and got on the live and I saw Nicole and it was just like, oh, deep breath. I'm with a friend. And so you just kind of go and you can be yourself and do all that. So I think I'll be fine. So I was just, how that was going to work. So,
well, Rickster, thank you very much. You know what? These lives would not be what they are without you guys.
Yeah.
Seriously, the channel, you guys make the channel work. We're just here putting the pieces together. You guys give us inspiration. You give us feedback. I've got a chat with some of our subscribers, and they do a great job.
nice. Yeah.
They do a great job of giving me ideas and giving me feedback. In fact, a couple of videos I've done are straight off of stuff they've been talking about. So you guys, that's why we always ask you to comment, and we ask you to partake in the live. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and feel free to subscribe. It helps support the channel. It makes the channel what it is, honestly. And hit that notification bell. You got anything else you want to add?
Yeah. Till next time, guys. Everybody, challenge yourself. Go live a life done free.
Yeah, go live. I got to put this last one up. Boom. We are past Soylent Green. Go eat crickets and enjoy them. And